Silent Records.
So it's back to school this week, about time as well, you might think. Some peace and quiet for a change. John Wozniak is Head of Employment and Skills at the British Chambers of Commerce. Good evening to you.
Good evening.
And you do all of that organisation's thinking about how well schools prepare kids for the world of work. How good are they when the kids come out at the other end?
Well, some of them are very good, and businesses want to employ young people because they've got a lot to offer, and they are the future of their skilled workforce. But they get particularly frustrated when they come across, I would say, too many young people who may have excellent academic results and lots of potential, but they lack the basic skills that employers are looking for in the workplace. The ability to talk to clients, to take instructions from managers, to turn up on time, perhaps to write properly and in a professional manner.
But that's work ethic more than anything else, isn't it? Is it really the school's job to instil that?
Well, some of it's work ethic, but some of it's basic skills, the ability to write a business letter, to write informal prose rather than text speak. We've had examples of young people turning up for their first job and asking a manager in the afternoon, where do you go to have a nap around here? Because they're used to having an afternoon sleep. And it's not their fault. Nobody's told them that this is not how you behave at work. They don't do work experience as much as they used to. The Saturday job has all but gone. And young people need a more formal careers education, and we'd like to see the government to look at introducing careers education from an early age, possibly even from primary school, and building it up throughout secondary school so that young people get a full understanding of the opportunities available to them, the expectations when they do find a job, and what they need to do to prepare for their chosen career.
Sounds like what you're looking for is work experience.
Well, that's a part of it. So we think the Education Secretary is right to try to achieve greater rigour academically and also to make apprenticeships a more valued option, the sort of parity of esteem between a university education or a more vocational route. But then there are two other strands that at the moment the government's really neglecting. One is work experience. So despite a government consultation last year in which I think 9 out of 10 respondents said that work experience and work-related learning, as it's known, should be retained in schools, the government decided to remove the formal requirement for that. And then the other aspect is careers education, and the government's removed funding for the Connections service, and which was patchy but very good in some places, and given the responsibility to schools to decide how they deliver careers education. And in some cases, that's nothing more than access to a piece of computer software.
John, thanks very much. That's John Wozniak. He's from the British Chambers of Commerce. Mike, I forget exactly how many school leavers will come through your door looking for their first job, but you and other supermarkets and the retail industry as a whole are a very important sort of first stage in the workplace. When the kids reach you, do you think they're fit for work?
I disagree with some of the premise of what's being said. We employ 47,000 people under the age of 25, so it's a massive, massive part of our workforce. And the reality is it's a very competitive job market, but we can find the right raw material. And we hire, I think the point was made about attitude towards work. We hire for attitude and train for skill. So it's all about, in our business, finding the right people at entry level and then bringing them through our training into the world of work, and that's a big challenge for us. And we cover a multitude of skills, so it's an opportunity for all, whether it's entry level from the age of 16, whether people come and join us as a trainee manager, for instance, at the age of 18, or indeed come out of university. So there's a wide range of skills. And we also pride ourselves on our training facilities. We have, for instance, a number of academies, colleges, where we train our colleagues for specific skills like becoming bakers or butchers or fishmongers.
You don't seem to have a problem with the idea that you have to take these youngsters and you have to train them in the Sainsbury way, that there is a certain amount of training that any employer has to do.
Absolutely. That's the fundamental premise. And we believe that if we can get the right raw material, which in and of itself is a challenge in general, but if we can get the right raw material, we can bring those people through and we can train them and give them the right opportunities. A third of our store managers joined us when they were less than 18, just to put it in context. So there's plenty of opportunity for people to come through our business.
Record youth unemployment, and the BBC discusses how school prepares children for work. Flog the teaching profession again, leaving the politicians out of it. How very BBC, says this text with no name on it. Pamela, your recruits, when they leave school, are they fit for work?
I would agree a lot with what Mike said there, that it's about getting the good raw material, and of course you've always got to instil the skills that you need as a business. So I don't believe that it's up to the school to actually teach them how to make a dehumidifier or how to sell, but I do think that in some ways education, when a student comes out from university with a management degree, they do believe that they can actually walk into a business and take on a senior management position, and they just can't. So I'd rather take the 16-year-old school leaver, actually, and educate them and teach them ourselves. And
you work in other ways. You've come up with other approaches to developing skills by working in community networks. Yeah. We've got a community network, and we recognised through network meetings with businesses on our industrial park that we were all keen to engage with schools. And so we started to engage with them. We just started doing that ourselves without any kind of government initiative, and the schools want the same thing as well, actually. So as soon as you sit down around a table and agree a way forward, you can actually do that, and that's been really productive. We've obviously been trying to promote manufacturing into schools and showing them the reality of manufacturing, what it is, and the spectrum of jobs that there are in manufacturing as well, and it's the reality of it. Not to lie to the kids either, not tell them it's something that it isn't, because it's really important that they understand that. Right, we've got Matt, who's a teacher in Liverpool, texting to say that their priority nowadays is league tables rather than developing careers, because that's how things are set up nowadays. Another teacher in Kent saying that part of the problem that young people can't communicate with clients is because the speaking and listening element has been taken out of the GCSE English. And then one or two texts expressing incredulity at the idea that somebody might want to nap in the afternoon, and that this is a habit they picked up at school. Lily, you actually work in schools. Lily Lapenna, the founder of MyBnk, you work in schools with young people, talking to them about working in the future. What do you say to them? How ready do you think they are?
Oh, I think what we're trying to do is make sure young people are going into the workplace not feeling unfazed, but also really feeling motivated about it. And there's an opportunity for schools, colleges and universities to really engage with the ecosystem around them, to build relationships with local businesses, local community groups, and through that see opportunity at every level. So we do a lot of work by bringing young people from colleges and schools into contact with employers. We bring them on site, we give them a real sense of what it means to work in a company, and we get the young people to come up with great ideas and challenges that help the employer to think about how they're going to suit the needs of future customers.
Something I hear from businesses, though, is that they'd like to get in touch with local schools, but some of them find it difficult. The schools are a bit resistant to taking any outside advice or any outside counsel on this.
I've never found that. I mean, we've worked with over 400 schools, and my opinion is that my experience is schools are very open to bringing in the right type of support. It often helps to if there's an intermediary such as MyBnk. We're a charity, so we can act as a very impartial intermediary. We're not there to promote any products or services or businesses, but we're really able to create programs for young people that schools recognise are important, and that makes them open to local businesses.
Pamela, tell me about your expanding your business. We always like a bit of good news here. You're going into what? Washing machines? Yes,
we're going to bring manufacturing of washing machines back to the UK. We buy, as a nation, 4 million laundry appliances every year, and not one single washing machine is made in the UK anymore. So we're going to start making them next year.
So that's the gap in the market that you've spotted.
A massive gap, in my opinion. And, you know, I do believe that stopping some of these imports is the way to improve the economy as well. So,
but aren't the ones made abroad going to be cheaper?
No. Most washing machines are actually made in Italy, and they don't have a lower cost base than us.
So, why are they made there? Is it a skills thing? Is it a style and a branding thing? If it says made in Italy on it, that seems to have a bit of prestige.
I think it's more to do with the ownership of the brands and to do with the commercial decisions that those companies make. The latest brand that manufacturer that left the UK went to Italy because it was bought out by an Italian firm.
I'm just wondering, does the Made in Britain label have a value that you'll be able to exploit?
I think that we will be able to, but the one thing that we've got to back it up with is a product that when you get it home actually lives up to the EBAC brand of value and reliability, because we won't last very long if we make washing machines that are purely sold because they've got a Union Jack on them. So we've got to stand up to the promise as well. But yes, we will take advantage of the current throng of wanting to buy British products, definitely.
Pat Berry's annoyed that we've been talking about young people as raw material. They are people, that's typical business speak. And then someone else suggesting, with no name on this one, that it's terribly BBC to refer to them as young people, and we should be calling them kids or teenagers or children or whatever happens to fit. Phil in Swindon, I recently gave work experience to 3 undergraduates. All of them spent the first morning emailing their friends using the company IT network or on social network sites, despite the fact they were told not to do so. He says they all wanted to be management consultants. Was that any coincidence? He wants school leavers any time at all. Every week we look at how we can sell more British stuff abroad. If you look at the growth figures, we're talking about growth of 1% here in Britain this year, but it's 5% in Vietnam, 6% in Pakistan, 7.5% in China, and even Brazil, which has slowed down a bit, still forecast to grow by 3% this year. So Victoria Nabas is back with us, our regular guide to doing business in Brazil. She's a lawyer here and there as well. Schools in Brazil, how do they prepare youngsters for the world of work? Are they ahead in teaching sort of technical skills or creativity, or are they behind us? How would you compare us and them?
Well, good evening, everybody. First, I think there's a huge lack of good schooling in Brazil. Not that it does not exist, but it's really to a very small percentage of the population due to the fact that it's a really huge country first, and second, it's a country in development. So for expanding business in education, Brazil is a very good place. And I see a lot of English universities going to the Brazilian market and trying to get clients there, to open their campus there. Is really doing pretty well. And this is because the kids are not taught a lot of things that are linked to regular life. They are very much in academic training, but real life, what to do, and not to use the social media when they start working, for example. They're not taught any things like that.
What is the word for school?
Escola.
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 Everybody?
Escola.
Okay, you passed that particular test. The big boss this week is from retail, and we've seen British supermarkets actually being successful overseas. What about Brazil? Is there a market there for British retail experts?
Definitely. We are consumers. We love shopping. It's not only the women that have the DNA there. It's everybody. It's a number one consuming country right now in the U.S., in Miami and New York. So Brazilians are very big shoppers, and supermarkets are there. Something like more than shopping is something social also. People dress up to go to supermarket, believe it or not.
Really?
And yes.
It's that big a deal?
Well, it is.
I've seen people in his supermarkets in their dressing gown and bedroom slippers.
Oh, surely not.
Well, we all do. But there is a huge market for British products. I told you this before. I think made in UK, made in Britain, made in England, because believe it or not, any one of this is really a label in Brazil already, because Brazilians really love British products. From tea to more design clothes, big brands are there, big labels are there. Brazilians are completely crazy about the UK.
Mike, are you interested in doing business in Brazil?
No, it's not on our list of places that we would do business. No, Brazil is quite an interesting retail market. It's actually quite well developed, and it's also got a number of very large players in the market, like Walmart and I think Carrefour over there as well. Yeah. So there's some big players out there.
So the big international names are in there already?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just wondering, is this a sense that it's an opportunity Britain might have had but has lost?
I certainly think that's the case in the world of retail. There's no doubt most of these big companies went in during the 80s and the 90s. But it's an interesting thing, because I think we'll all become Brazilian over the next couple of years with the combination of the World Cup and the Olympics. So I think
just in case he changes his mind, tell him what the word for supermarket is.
Very easy. Supermercado.
supermercado.
I'm not even going to ask the others to do that one. It's so simple. Victoria Nabas, obrigada. Thank you for being with us tonight. Here was the clue for the mystery story. And I told you you'd kick yourself. It's the news that Krabby's, the ginger beer maker, is the new sponsor of the Grand National. It's going to cost them something in the region of £1 million. Mike Coop says he got it. So did Mike and Sheila in Brentwood, Kevin in South West London, and Liam in Stoke. Thank you to all of you who took part in that tonight. Thank you to our guests, to Mike, to Pamela, to Lily, to Victoria, and also to our reporter, Zoe Kleiman.